Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the Launchpad, or I guess I should say that it is now past midnight, so good morning, and welcome here to the Launchpad Network and our live launch coverage of the historic maiden flight of New Glenn. We are counting down now just under an hour until liftoff. Blue Origin has confirmed that propellant loading is now underway, and we are now hearing that Blue Origin is changing their plans. They will not be going live at the 60-minute mark like they did on the first attempt. They're going to wait till T-minus 20 minutes, so we're going to wait a little bit longer until we get those live views from Blue Origin, but they are continuing through today's count. We have also heard that the weather has cleared and things are trending green right now across the board for liftoff. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad here at TLP. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together. And we're broadcasting from our TLP Space Coast studio down here in Florida, about 20 miles or so from the pad. We also have our TLP rocket chasers, Gavin, Cameron, Trevor, Josh, Danny, Eric, scattered around the Space Coast and area ready to capture today's flight. I believe we still have our remotes out there as well, so it has been an interesting week of spaceflight with Starship and Blue Origin kind of playing tag on who's going to go first, and right now it looks like Blue Origin is looking good for today's flight. As always, as we get started, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. We're going to, of course, be answering your guys' questions as well, but we'll do some shout-outs there, so let us know in the chat where you're watching from. If you haven't yet, though, also make sure that you take a second and engage that like button and share out the stream and invite people to join us. It is a historic night here on the Space Coast and a historic night for Blue Origin, and we're excited and honored to have you guys joining us. We know there's many ways you can watch the launch, and we're glad that have you here with us. See lots of people sending in where they're from. We got Age of Canucks is in Alberta. Great to see another Albertan here. We got Emerald in Burnaby. Lots of Canada. Amy is in Michigan. Princess is Canada. Sharon is in India. Breaking news out of India. ISRO has confirmed the docking of the SpadeX mission. Those two orbital vehicles, they have successfully docked them. We're waiting for video of that, but ISRO confirming the docking in the last 20 minutes or so. Jazz is watching from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We got Roy in Sydney, Australia. We got, Patrick is in Quebec. Richard is in El Paso, Texas. We got Starship in South Florida. I can't wait for Starship to be in Central Florida one day, hopefully near future. Yavan, sorry if I said that wrong, is in Quebec City. We got Yuleflesh in Prince Rupert. Shapongal Bob, sorry if I said that wrong, in Finland. Welcome. Jordan's in Australia. Williams in Port Orange, We got David in Michigan. Linux is in St. Paul, Alberta. We got Paul in South Carolina. I see Minnesota. I see Philippines, Russia, Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Western Australia, Indiana, South Ontario. Let's see. I see Calgary, Alberta, Miami, Florida. Great to see a lot of Canadians on here. It's a good time for a North American crowd to be able to join for today's flight. We're at 52 minutes, 35 seconds, and counting. We are approaching that built-in hold. At T-minus 20 minutes, they will enter a built-in hold. That hold is a 30-minute hold. So on the L- clock, which is what we operate off of, that will begin at the 50-minute mark. Now, why two countdown clocks? One, the T- clock is more operational. It's kind of your checklist. If propellant loading hasn't happened and you can hold at T-10, you hold there till propellant loads, then you continue in your count. The L- clock, that's your real-world time. That's to know if you still got time to go get another drink, head out to the bathroom, or go wake up your family, in my case, so they can all run outside and see today's flight. So we're about to enter that planned hold. This is the hold that we expect them to sit in until weather was clear, but at the latest weather briefing, we have heard that they have confirmed the weather right now is clear, and they are ready to go for today's flight. As always, if you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad. We'll work on answering those live while we continue through today's mission. It is a Blue Origin launch, and it's New Glenn, their new orbital class vehicle. This vehicle is similar size to the Space Launch System, or SLS, that beautiful vehicle that launched 2 years ago and we'll hopefully get to see fly next fall, carrying the first Canadian to the moon and 3 Americans back to lunar orbit for the first time in over 50 years. But for Blue Origin, this is their first orbital vehicle, and they went from this very, very, very small vehicle of New Shepard. This entire launch vehicle can fit in the fairing of New Glenn and have room for cargo and luggage all around it. The New Glenn fairing is absolutely massive. But speaking of New Shepard, I did want to do a little quick shout out. It does relate. A big shout out to Dr. Rahman, who flew on the last New Shepard flight, sending us in to the studio an autograph here and actually a patch with Blue Origin certificate proving that it did fly on the latest New Shepard. So Dr. Rahman, thank you so much for that. We are working to do an interview with Dr. Rahman in the future, so make sure you're staying tuned for that and have engaged that subscribe button as well. Lots of Australia popping in the chat as well. Great to see you. If you haven't yet, take a moment, share out the stream, invite people to join us as we continue to count down. We should now be entering that planned 30-minute hold in the count. Now, our countdown clock is going to continue to run until we get an updated T0. We are expecting Blue Origin to go live at the T-minus 20-minute mark this evening. A little change from what we had previously, except they just went live now at the T-minus 50 and the clock is running. So bear with me. Let me pull this up here. We were not expecting them to start this early, but they have decided to. Maybe they saw our tweet kind of calling them out for waiting a little bit longer. But we do have Blue Origin. Okay, no. They went live. This is amazing. I'll bring this up on screen. They went live with a screen that's going to stay black the whole time, we assume, to tell you that they are going to not go live until T-minus 20. But they're giving us a countdown clock. So I have to say, I appreciate they're giving us a countdown clock. We can sync our clocks with theirs as we await liftoff. But there is the official countdown now on your screen. T-minus 49 minutes, 5 seconds and counting. What's interesting is that clock is running. It is continuing to tick down. That would be a 1 a.m. A 1 a.m. launch time, which I believe that is a shift in the timeline. We were planning to know that they were doing a shift in their timeline to try to address some of the ice buildup that they had. So it looks like they may have actually removed that 30-minute hold at the T-minus 20-minute mark, because if we had T-minus 20 minutes and we add 30, either that clock that on their screen should say L-minus, or we're not targeting 1 a.m. and we're actually targeting later in the window. So we'll wait to see what turns out to be true. But from everything we are hearing from our sources, they are targeting the opening of that window right at 1 a.m. As always, if you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad, and we will work on answering those live. I know we do have some Blue Origin people watching, so a big shout out to all of you for the work that is taken to get to today's milestone of having a vehicle fully fueled and ready to go here for flight. And we're excited to see this vehicle get off the pad here, hopefully this evening. I was outside not too long ago, and it was looking pretty nice out here. A little bit of clouds in the air, but they were definitely starting to clear out. Now jumping into your guys' comments and questions. If you send those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad, I'll work on answering those live here. Survey should include I'm not even going to say the S word, says Dio. I didn't want to include that. I think we're just going to go for it today. I think it feels good. It feels like it's ready to go. Let us know your guys' thoughts. How do you think today's flight's going to go? Zane is asking, what's your opinion on what will happen during launch? So I was at the first Starship flight. Part of Starship from Flight 1 is here in the studio. First flights are hard then you're talking about a launch vehicle that is massive. And you're talking about them going from New Shepard in its entirety to New Shepard fits in its fairing. This is a very large vehicle. I, of course, want it to succeed, but we all know space is not easy. I believe Blue Origin CEO came out and said if they make it to orbit, that's their big goal for this flight. Anything extra is bonus. I would say if they get to MECO and stage separation, that's a really huge first. If we look at Starship, it took to the second flight. Well, I mean, sort of the first flight had it in a way after it blew up. But, so second flight, third flight with Starship, I think if they could get to MECO stage separation, that'd be huge. If they get to orbit, holy cow. I personally don't think New Glenn's going to get anywhere near Jacqueline this first flight, but I will be super excited and surprised and cheering them on if it does. Landing, like launch, is also super hard, and this is something that they're doing also for not the first time for this scale of vehicle. They have history in knowing how to hover New Shepard and then land it, but again, we're talking something totally different in scale. Yes, they have some history, but it's all new. And it's new engines, it's a new vehicle, it's a new landing barge. If you didn't know who Jacqueline is Jeff Bezos' mom, and the landing barge that they're going to attempt to land the booster on, Jeff Bezos named Jacqueline. Let's see, Dark Cluster, will there be more New Glenn launches in the future at the launch pad from Blue Origin? They hope so. Their second Blue Origin New Glenn, booster and second stage we saw on the last live broadcast from Blue Origin is in the hangar, and they are well into construction of it, getting ready for their second flight. We know that they wanted to, at least on the rough schedule, we're hoping to have at least 2 more flights this year with customers. So we'll have to see if we get there. It kind of all depends on how this flight ends up going. Age of Canucks, can you tell us more about the load New Glenn is carrying? Absolutely. It is carrying this absolutely tiny payload on board that is called the Blue Ring Pathfinder. This Blue Ring Pathfinder is a prototype of the Blue Ring Pathfinder, and it will consist of a communication array, a power system, and flight computers that can be affixed to a secondary payload adapter ring. It will remain attached to the second stage, and this launch is actually serving as a certification flight for the National Security Space Launch Certificate. This is the first flight they have to do. It's a multiple flight sequence, but that is what is on board. So Pathfinder is developed by Blue Origin, and is their kind of, in a way, I guess, like kind of kick stage, communication stage that they can attach to other vehicles. But for this flight, it will be staying attached to the second stage as they get ready to attempt to fly here today. Just catching up with our TLP crew that are out in the field here, making sure that they are all doing all right. It's not exactly a warm day out here on the Space Coast, so everyone's checking the batteries, making sure we're all good for today's flight. You can keep sending in your guys' comments and questions in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad. 2-acre size comparison of New Glenn to Starship. Now, I don't have a New Glenn model yet. We're working on it. Blue Origin, you want to collab? You can beat the size of Starship. You can't see it, but there's a really large Starship beside me. Maybe we need a really large New Glenn. New Glenn is slightly smaller than Starship height-wise, and it is slightly smaller diameter-wise, I believe, as well. New Glenn is a 7-meter vehicle, and Starship is taller, and Starship keeps stretching as well. So Elon a week ago said they're probably going to stretch it another 10 meters. So we don't really know how tall Starship is going to be. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Age of Canucks, the certification, they have to do 2 flights. Is that 2 successful flights? And how successful? That is the question for the Space Force. Because there was the Vulcan flight, if we all remember, that had one of its SRBs explode and the engine ring kind of fell off. Yet that flight was still determined successful, even though it was a certification flight. So that is all determined by the Space Force. Catching up on your guys' questions and comments. Seeing what you guys are saying in the chat here. Greg's saying rough seas, about 600 miles off the coast, 7-8 feet, not good. Keep in mind the size of this vehicle. That's also a really big point. Actually, a point that's being sent in to me here is an interesting part is Vulcan, which flew on those last 2 certification missions, does actually fly with the BE-4 engines, which are used on today's flight. So that is something that these are new engines to the rocket because it's a new rocket, but they have flown before, just 2 of them versus 7. So that's going to be a much more powerful liftoff here this evening. Christy, hey Zach, what happened to you? Haven't seen you in a bit. Christy, if you go to the channel, there's an update video I put out. I think it was just at Christmas. Kind of runs down all of it. There's a GoFundMe going. Almost wasn't here for Christmas, life-wise, but super thankful to the police officers and the ambulance crew and the medical team that took care of me in early December. Got me healed up enough to come home for Christmas, and now we're on the road to recovery. We finished kind of the most intense part of it with medication, and now we're on the longer recovery journey with a few things left on board for a number of months, and we'll go from there. But just thankful to be alive, and thankful for the technology and the medications that we have. I had never been admitted to this type of degree into a hospital, and it was amazing to see some of the technology that we have, that we use on a daily basis in our hospitals and emerge and in admitted care to examine the human body. And it was kind of funny in a way, because a lot of time I was going through some of the tests, I was thinking, wow, this is what astronauts have to go through so many of these tests before and after their flight, and then they have to do it every so often after their flight, because all of our astronauts are living experiments. We don't know what long-term space flight does. We don't know what, if you went to space for a year, what your body's like in 50 years. So we're studying all of them. So completely unrelated, but that's what I was thinking while going through some of the tests. And I missed a few launches, unfortunately, but we're glad to be back at it, and glad to be back charged up, ready to go for crazy back-to-back launches. Some people are starting to call it Star Glen week, I guess. Excited to see what happens here with those 2 flights, but I appreciate you checking in. Let's see. Gallinari, in your opinion, prior to launch, do you think Blue Origin could be a major competitor to SpaceX's Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy rockets? Age of Connect saying New Glenn would be more of a challenger for Falcon 9 or Starship. It's a really interesting question for it. I think it could be really a competitor for all of it, and it really comes down to price and availability. That's the big thing with any of these launch providers and their vehicles. It comes down to, can you fit my payload? When can you fit my payload into your launch schedule? And how much is it going to cost? If you can fit someone in and you're the cheapest on the market, great. But being the cheapest doesn't always mean the best. Falcon 9 has a huge track record, right? So it all depends what you're looking for. It depends, are you trying to get put into orbit, get kicked somewhere, do a longer journey, or are you trying to go straight to your destination, depending where that destination is. So it really comes down to a lot of variables for it and what people want to pay. If someone wanted to launch a toaster, they could still book New Glenn. Might not be the smartest decision, but it is definitely possible. Goldslinger says, let's roll. Thank you so much for that super chat there. I really do appreciate that. You guys don't have to super chat your questions. If you do, I try to jump you in the queue of questions that we've got. But excited to have you all here for today's flight. The creators, I appreciate that. Great to have you here. Jatain, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Have they started building the second New Glenn? Yes, we saw it during the last launch attempt a few days ago. Hopefully we'll see maybe a quick shot of it again here tonight. But they are well into development of the second one. I don't want to guess how long until we could see that into some testing, but it was a lot further along than I think many of us assumed it would be for today's flight. Mr. Nine says, Zach, about your channel, change nothing, very professionally ran. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Christy says, glad you're back. I appreciate it. Age of Connects, is there plans for human transporter on New Glenn? So Jeff hasn't ruled it out, but it's not a urgent day one priority either. The creators, the onboard payload today is Blue Origin's own Blue Ring Pathfinder. I guess following up on our social and with our crew, making sure everything is continuing along as we follow along on today's count. T-minus 35 minutes and counting. Things continuing to look good here this morning for flight. As always, if you guys have questions, you can keep sending them in the chat. Just make sure you're tagging us at the launch pad. That helps flag it in the chat so I can see them. Also, while we've got a few minutes, take a moment, let us know in the poll how you think today's flight's going to go. I'm happy to see between the two feeds that we're running, Make It to Orbit and Booster Land is in the lead. And Orbit and Booster Fail Landing is in second. The polls are actually very close to the same. But still 18% of you think we're gonna have fireworks tonight, and though we all love an explosion, we also don't really want to see that, so we'll have to wait and see how things continue. Also take a moment, head on over to the launchpad.store. That is where you can get our TLP launch merch, like our Lunex 1 shirt, as well as our new Glenn shirts. We also have a couple posters up. Following today's launch, either late into the morning or sometime tomorrow, we'll release photos from the launch, and if we have our remote cameras as well. So make sure to stay tuned for those. We offer them in posters, canvas, and metal prints, and we do have global shipping available. The profits of that go into supporting our rocket chasers and supporting what we do to expand new gear and new equipment to try to expand our coverage. We were testing out some new things. If you were with us on the first stream, we had a live camera out in the field. We apparently pushed it a little too hard because that system doesn't want to work anymore. So we're already building a new kit, and we'll be getting that ready to do testing with in the next couple of weeks. Carrie, you were making me hungry. I would love a steak pie right now. David, why did they choose this time, late hour, to launch? That is a great question for Blue Origin, and we've all been wondering that. It's actually interesting because it's similar time to when we saw the launch last night with the 2 lunar landers. So, there was a little bit of a rumor. Were they going to try to do something with the moon? The moon actually is on the mission patch. I have one here. Again, thank you to Blue Origin for the media kit. Actually, I was meant to be, I was going to wear my lanyard and my hat tonight, but I think I'll get those at some point. T-minus 32 minutes, 15 seconds, and counting till launch. Age of Connects. So if New Shepard can fit in the fairings, can they launch New Shepard to get it to the moon? So the issue would be you would have no ground support equipment or launch pad on the moon for New Shepard. So that would be your issue. Catching up on your guys' comments. Kerbal Nautic says, now I'm hungry, sorry. See a couple questions asking about the thrust. Liftoff thrust of New Glenn is 17,150 kilonewtons. It can carry 45,000 kilograms to low Earth orbit or 13,000 kilograms to geotransfer orbit. The New Glenn rocket stands 98 meters tall. The fairing is 21.9 meters of that and has a 7-meter diameter. It's a 2-stage launch vehicle. There was a 3-stage variant originally planned, but that is not on the drawing maps from what we understand anymore, but doesn't mean they couldn't ever bring it back. Gregory Allen, I've come over from one of your competitors. Their stream was boring. Well, we're glad you're here. Here at the Launchpad, we do believe that space is better together. So welcome. If you have questions or anything, you can drop it in the chat, and we'll work on answering those live. Everyone's got their thing, you know. That's why space is awesome, and that's why YouTube's really great. You know, you can have different types of streams, so everyone can find a stream that they're happy with. And if you're happy with us here, that is awesome, and we're glad to have you here. Catching up on the chat here. Starship went 6 times already. Blew up 3 times. Did it blow up 3 times? I guess it depends how you determine blew up. Yeah, the Starship versus New Glenn stuff. I think a lot of it is in jest and just having fun with it. There's, of course, fanboys on both sides, but I've talked to people at SpaceX. I talked to people at Blue Origin. And the people working at both companies are just so inspiring and dedicated and passionate about this that there isn't a Starship versus New Glenn. When Starship fails a mission, everyone in the space industry is sad. When Starship succeeds, amazing. The same thing's going to happen with New Glenn. If tonight doesn't achieve, if tonight has the worst day possible, the whole space industry is going to mourn it. And if tonight has the best outcomes possible, the whole industry is going to celebrate it. Elon Musk even tweeted during the first launch attempt, good luck. You know, he's got a billion things on his plate right now, but he's still taking the time to follow these other companies, even if they're competitors. And that's the space industry. You know, the space industry really does say that it does support each other, no matter what. And that's part of just the Artemis Accords, the Outer Space Treaty. When we go to Mars, if your suit leaks and there's a habitat from Blue Origin, but you're a SpaceX suit, you know Blue Origin's going to open their door and support you, and then figure it out later. We preserve human life, and ultimately that's space is better together. This is a very interesting username. Mr. Poops a lot has put $99.99, $100, saying Blue Origin goes perfect, even landing. So I don't know if anyone else wants to place some super chat guesses on how things go today, but Mr. Poops a lot has started it off pretty high up there on how today's flight is going to go. I thank you for that. That's a huge help to get some of these new rocket chaser equipments back online, so we can get you guys even more live views from Starbase, from down here in Space Coast, and from around the world as well. The creators, if today's launch is unsuccessful and we get a RUD, how long do you guys think they can launch? How long until they can launch again with another vehicle? Do they have one built? It's not built yet. It's in construction. I would say, based on how it looked, we're not talking 6 months. We're talking months, but not 6. And it also depends, when does it RUD? Does it RUD on the pad, or did the rocket leave and it's over the ocean? If it RUDs on the pad, it's a lot longer. But if it left and then RUDs, then totally different. Ricardo, for space advancements, we must support each other. Exactly. Which is always funny when Team Space doesn't. Nathan says 500 if it aborts and fails. Nathan, you forgot to hit the super chat button. It's great having you all here. T-minus 27 minutes and counting till this maiden flight of New Glenn. It's absolutely crazy that we are here. And it is looking like a good day for today's flight. hearing that things are continuing to look nominal for 1 a.m. Catching up on the chat. David, this launch seems to have come out of nowhere. Are they trying to upstage the other launch schedule for later today? No, they've been bouncing actually back and forth. That's why some people are calling it New Star or Star Glen, as it's kind of the Barbenheimer of the space industry, with these two super heavy launch vehicles. Heavy launch vehicle, super heavy launch vehicle, depending how you want to look at them, here today. So they're kind of, you go first, and you go first. And it's funny because it's both coming down to weather. These two incredible vehicles, one of the biggest things that's causing issues and delays is the weather. This cold blast that has hit North America is not only affecting a lot of our lives, it is affecting their schedule here as well. Of course, there were some issues with the rocket in the first launch attempt, but weather was a concern as well. Dylan, I'm interested to see how the new thermal skin tech is going to hold up. I do as well. The launch window is a 3-hour launch window tonight. It opens up at 1 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. UTC. But we are targeting the beginning of the window. Age of Canucks, can you give me the phone number for the man in charge at Blue Origin? If I had that, one, I wouldn't give it out, and two, I wish I had that because we would have already had a tour and an interview. But maybe one day. We'd love to sit down with Jeff and talk Blue Origin and just the inspiration and everything that they're doing with it. Opening up commercial suborbital space tourism, and now this orbital vehicle. Love to sit down also with their CEO, stepping in quite late into getting ready for this first flight, and then really changing how much Blue Origin went from really secret to this new CEO sharing pictures every couple of days inside the hangar leading up to this first flight. It's really been refreshing, and I think really started to build that excitement of this first flight. Well, we're watching that T0 like all of you, T-minus 24 minutes and counting on the clock, which means we are taking a look and we're going to follow along on the mission timeline based on the one they provided to media for the first window. We're not sure if this has changed at all, but at the T-minus 10 minute mark is when there's supposed to be that go, no go poll. And then terminal count is supposed to be at the T-minus 4 minute mark. After that, the vehicle goes to internal power, water deluge, autopilot enabled is a really interesting one on the mission timeline, and then liftoff at T0. Taking a look towards through the schedule, though, some of the major milestones: Max Q initially, 1 minute, 39 seconds into flight, followed by MECO, that is the main engine cutoff. Those are those 7 BE4 engines on the first stage. 3 minutes, 10 seconds into flight, followed by stage separation and second stage engine start. They're expecting to cross the Kármán line 3 minutes, 36 seconds into flight. That would be a huge milestone. The booster conducts its re-entry burn 7 minutes, 17 seconds into flight, doing quick math after midnight, not the best idea, lasting just under 30 seconds. We're going to round. Just under 30 seconds. And booster landing is set to occur. The landing burn starts 8 minutes, 52 seconds into flight with a hover, and then landing at 9 minutes, 28 seconds. We'll be following along. The end of mission is actually 5 hours, 50 minutes after liftoff. But the biggest milestones will be getting to orbit there. And the stage 2 orientation maneuver, the nadar pointing, 1 hour, 59 minutes into flight. So we're going to follow along. We'll see how long Blue Origin stays live. Obviously, the launch is the biggest part of this. We just got a picture in from one of our rocket chasers out on the beach by Cherry Park. Looks like the beach is really starting to fill up as people are getting ready and getting excited. And we are hearing that they are continuing through their timeline. And things are continuing to look good. We're expecting them to be entering their kind of internal go, no go polls. And then we have that full go, no go at the T-minus 10 minute mark. And we're really hoping that we'll be able to listen into that when they begin their live coverage here in just over a minute here. Once Blue Origin goes live, as long as they're not playing a video with music, I'll be listening in with you to the Blue Origin live coverage. I'll be popping in and out, giving you commentary updates as well, but you can keep sending in your questions by tagging us at the Launchpad. And we have entered a hold at T-minus 20 minutes and 50 seconds. We will be waiting to see what that means, whether they go live here as we were expecting. But things are continuing to progress through the countdown. We were expecting this 30-minute hold at the T-minus 20-minute mark, and then the go, no go at T-minus 10, and the hold was supposed... So their timeline is very confusing. They list T-minus 20 minutes, and then they say a 30-minute hold begins, and then they say T-minus 4 minute planned hold release. Blue Origin, I hope you know your math better than that. 30 minutes after 20 is not 4. But we'll wait and see for an update here from Blue Origin, or if they start their live coverage, or what's going on the timeline. As we continue to get updates from our rocket chasers and teams in the field. Getting some info. Working with our rocket chasers as well, making sure they're all up to date on the hold. But we're continuing. So we are in a hold. We've confirmed that. They're working on a final few things, making sure everything's ready, and then they will progress the count, and they will go from there. So they are continuing to target a liftoff here. It will not be right at 1 a.m. based on this hold on the clock, but we should be shortly after that here, hopefully. We'll hopefully get a new T0 here in the near future. Hearing it won't be too long of a delay internally, but we are going to have a little bit of a hold here, which is as expected. So bear with me as I'm navigating lots of different screens and teams. We're, of course, also watching Starship and monitoring the conditions down there. Finally, the haze is cleared, and we can see the pad over on our live countdown to launch for Starship as well. We hope that you guys will join us for our live launch coverage of that later. I can say it now, today. Peter, Zach, looking a lot better than last time I saw it. I appreciate that. It could be the lighting in the new studio, or hopefully it's me. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's good to be back. Heather says, keeping us on our toes. Cool. This is fine. Yeah, we're not 3 hours into the window. Catching up on your guys's in the chat. Roadman, nothing seems to be entirely fixed. Always a problem. Not at all. This hold is normal in any vehicle. SpaceX holds all the time. SpaceX holds at T-minus 40 seconds with Starship. And we have seen them hold there for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and we've seen them hold there for a couple of minutes. So this is totally normal, especially with a brand new launch vehicle. And this is totally, completely normal that they will continue with their opportunity here today. There's also a lot of things that they're having to monitor. Not only is this a brand new rocket, incredibly new engines. They've only flown on Vulcan a couple of times. We're talking about trying to land this thing the first time on a landing barge 640 some kilometers downrange. So you got to worry about landing weather. The other thing that you have to think about is you're not only worried about the weather that you're coming through, you have to worry about the waves. Can you imagine trying to land something on a barge that's doing this? Not going to happen. So you got a ton of things you have to watch there. And then remove all of that, the launch complex. Space Launch Complex 36. This is a brand new pad that has not launched a vehicle. There's tons of things that have to go into the pad to even work right. The ground support equipment, the lightning towers, everything there. You have to make sure the range is clear, the keep out zone. There's so many things that go in, and that is why there are these holds. If there was a boat in range, which we don't want to see, it happens all the time. If there was a boat in range, they could hold, and hopefully the Coast Guard clears it, and then they go, if the weather was good, right? So holds are important. Holds are better than the S word. Thanks, Wormwood. I appreciate it. Nathan, Zach, you have the best voice in channel, mate. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's been a journey to get here and a journey of December, but excited to be back. I will say, you probably won't get my live facial expression of liftoff because I will be running to wake up family a couple minutes to lift off and then stepping outside to see today's launch. And I don't have a backyard camera yet. I'm working on it. That way I can run outside and see launches and you guys can still see me. So you're going to have to bear with me for that. Super excited to see Blue Origin fly New Glenn here this evening. We're not too sure what to expect on board cameras for today's flight. We're all very used to Starship's test flights with tons of cameras. We know they've got over 30 now for Flight 7. We're also used to them having their Starlink connectivity. New Glenn does not have Starlink on board. Believe it or not, their support ship for the landing barge does have Starlink, so we'll hopefully be able to see the landing provided by Starlink. But we're not too sure what we'll get to see in flight. Fingers crossed they have a good downlink as they continue. Gala, just move your system outside. Simple as that. I wish. If we didn't have hurricanes, I would move it closer to the window. I thought about it. We're working some ideas. Hopefully we'll be out more in the field doing live broadcasting as well. Okay, so we're getting a little bit more information here. Wait a little bit longer as we continue through the timeline here this evening. Catching up on social media as well. If you guys have questions, you can keep sending those in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad. Okay, 1 minute ago, we are entering a hold in the countdown at T-minus 20 minutes for BE4 Chillin. A new T0 is forthcoming. So confirmation there from Blue Origin that they are continuing. They're waiting for the BE4s to cool down and be ready for today's flight opportunity, but we do have that confirmation now coming in via them on X via the Blue Origin account. So we're waiting for that new T0. We do have kind of a rough number on when we're expecting that new T0. A little bit longer than we thought, but still well within the window. Catching up on your guys' comments and questions. I really like what Mr. Poopalot said. Everyone's super chat $1. No, not at all. If you do want to support the channel, you can become a member. 99 cents a month gets you that really awesome TLP helmet next to your name, like you can see Lynx has, and a few other people have next to their name, like David and Mike, as well as some others in the chat. So if you want that helmet next to your name, Windbreaker, the helmet changes colors the longer that you are a member. We really do appreciate that. Or you can head over to our shop, pick up some TLP launch gear. Also, make sure you're clicking on the link that is in the chat and sign up to join us over on our mission, Lunex 1. Yes, believe it or not, we are actually sending our own mission to the moon, and we are super, super excited about that. We're actually going to be putting out an update once we get through Star Glen, or New Ship, or all the names. What is it? New Glen? Star Glen? Star Glen, there we go. So we'll be putting out an update hopefully next week about that. We're super excited to have confirmed our lunar lander and get to finally publicly announce that. So we're going to roll out some new shirts and gear as well for Lunex 1, and we're working on some watch party plans. So if you are going to be able to come down and watch that event and see your name or your photo fly, we'll kind of do a TLP meetup around the launch as well. So super excited to be doing that, and excited to partner with Astrobotic to be sending a payload to the surface of the moon. It's crazy. Something I'm going to hold is going to be on the moon. It's insane. Absolutely crazy. New era of space exploration. Victoria, really thank you for sending that in the chat as well. Our thoughts and prayers are also with anyone who has lost their lives or lost their home in California with those wildfires. It's absolutely insane, the size of these flames and these wildfires and the devastation. The amount of devastation was worse than Hurricane Katrina. A huge shout out to SpaceX and Elon Musk and the Starlink team and Tesla team for diverting Cybertruck deliveries to use them as emergency power units to deploy Starlink so people can communicate with their families. But yeah, if you have been affected or your family or friends have been affected by that, know that you're not alone. We're thinking of you and we're praying for you, and we're hoping for some rain and for these winds to calm down. Gala, thank you so much for becoming a suborbital explorer and then immediately going to a lunar explorer. I appreciate that support. The creators just found out you're also from Alberta. Right on, bud. What city are you originally from? I'm born in Edmonton, not in the C word, Calgary. If you're from Edmonton, it's a city rivalry. I'm from Edmonton as well. Edmontonian, mostly born and mostly raised in Edmonton, and then partially in Southern California. So seeing the fires, they're about 2 hours from where I grew up as a kid as well, or a teen. Feels a little bit like home. I know the area. But yeah, it's awesome seeing so many Canadians on here tonight. Thanks for being here. If you're just joining us though, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. We'll do some more things. Ooh, Patrick, that's almost like swearing. Zach is a Flames fan? No. It's Oilers all the way. It's got to be the Oilers. If we're winning. If we're not winning, no one watches. When we're winning, everyone watches. Lynx, Nate versus Sate, Edmonton versus Calgary. Obviously, Nate wins. I went to Nate. J.R. Shaw, School of Business. So funny, there's all these Canadians in the chat. When I lived in Canada, there was no Canadians in the chat. And then I moved to Florida, and now there's all these Canadians. This is really funny. Peter's watching from the UK. Hatch is in Los Angeles. Byron is watching from Oregon. Encounter is in Sunset, LA. Hope you're doing all right. Dan is in Seattle. 274727 is watching in Finland. Great to have you here. Hatch is in Los Angeles. Ooh, see, Oilers won tonight 5-3. We're going to have a launch. We're good. Nathan's watching from Perth, Australia. Christy is in Atlanta, Texas. Not Georgia, Texas. WW is in Saskatchewan. We got TML from Toronto. I can't say the rest of your comment. It's Go Oilers Go is the only acceptable thing. Danny's watching from Vancouver. Starship's in West Palm Beach. The Ruler is in New Zealand. Exploring the Back Rooms is from Australia. David's from Michigan. Gala says, you got me from Oregon as well. Steve's in England. Romeric is Canadian as well. It's great to have you here. If you are just joining us, welcome here. We're continuing to count down to today's launch. We're continuing to target wait for that new T0. We do have one that we've heard, and that's going to be roughly about 30 minutes from now for that new T0. So we'll wait and see how things continue to progress on the timeline. But things are definitely continuing to be well here, and they're going to be going into those go, no go polls here in the very, very near future. Catching up on your guys' chats. Roy's in Sydney, Australia. Gavin's in Auckland, New Zealand. Moon Wi-Fi is in Germany. That would be called Moonlink. They're actually working on that at Starlink. David is from Northern Ireland. Dylan is in Colorado. We got... Ooh, I'm going to say your name wrong. Ocean is in Wales, UK. Welcome. Bacon's in Oklahoma. Zane is in SoCal, Laguna. Apollo's in Alberta as well. Ciora, sorry if I said that wrong, is in Michigan. Salty is from upper left of the USA. That's a great way of putting it. Ellie's saying, due for a poll, will New Glenn launch tonight? We did one earlier, actually, and 53% said yes to a launch today, and 47% said no. So it'll be interesting to see who goes there. It's me, Michigan Loves TLP. I appreciate that. We'll continue doing some shoutouts, but if you have questions, you can keep sending those in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad as well. We'll work on answering those. Age of Canucks, we need a TLP Alberta meetup and drive down to see the studio in Florida. See, a TLP meetup drive down would be fun. I am going to work on doing like a studio tour for members. So if you are a member, stay tuned for that. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Want to make sure everything got it right, and then we'll do that kind of tour. But yeah, definitely would be fun to do a meetup sometime this summer when I'm back in Canada. Try to do it, Tell Us World of Science or something. That would be awesome. So stay tuned. HM Doppelganger, does Blue Origin own Pad 36 or rent it from NASA? So it has been assigned, it's a contract similar to SpaceX from the Space Force. So they have it for so long of a period of time. And that, of course, can be extended. Bryant, where can I put my name on the mission to the moon? Let me make sure it's dropping it in the chat. It should drop you a link there, and you can submit your name if Nightbot wants to work. Let's try this one. Nightbot might be sleeping. Wouldn't put it past him. The countdown is because we're in a hold. I do expect this hold to be released in roughly about 10 minutes, based on what some of the things we're hearing, but we'll see if that holds true here this evening. Catching up on your guys' comments and questions. The Launchpad, what is new Armstrong? That is a guess on another vehicle that they could do. in the future that is a lot larger. And I'm back. Sorry, I was talking with people here and the TLP crew as well. If you guys have questions, keep sending those in the chat. How large? New Shepherd to New Glen. Make New Glen New Shepherd, and then scale that way. Incredibly large. But it's the same idea as people have thought Starship could mass grow as well. So we'll have to see, but that's a long way down the road for how things get ready. But at this point, we should be about 25 minutes or so. We're in the count, hoping that this T0 will be released here momentarily as we continue through the timeline for today's flight. Liam says, watching from Blue Origin at work. Well, I'm hoping you're not in mission control or launch control. But if you're not in either of those, then it's great to have you here, Liam, and appreciate what you guys do. Sergeant Salty, that beeping sounds like an exercise machine. Is someone doing cardio? No, that was one of our timers running to make sure that staying on top of the timeline as we progress through it. Boiling says, hello from Little Rock, Arkansas. Great to have you. Mitsuni is watching from Texas. Unknown GD is watching from Canada as well. Great to have you here. Let us know in the chat, are you guys, if you're going to have the opportunity to go see Starship in person, or you're going to be watching it with us later officially now today. They're targeting 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Smile, if Blue Origin makes the new Armstrong, do you think Starship would fit in it? It's a very big vehicle. But it's all hypothetical at this point. Amber says, watching from the Cape. Great to have you here. Hopefully it's looking good for you guys, hopefully out there in the field. HM Doppelganger, not in person this time, but someday. Yes, it'd be great to have you back out here. Librac Productions watching from Wendover. Great to have you. Brian, it should be listed as available. It should be on there. Catching up on the timeline here. Agent Connects, you plan to have cameras at their pad as well. So we have remote cameras out for today's flight. We are working to try to get some 24/7 cameras down here on the Space Coast. With it being Space Force Base and Kennedy Space Center, it's a lot more restrictive, especially not being an American citizen. So it is something that's a little more difficult to do, but it is something we're working on. Even if it's some wider shots, we'll hopefully have those up in the next little bit. Lee, how far are you from the launch site? It's about 20 miles, I think. I haven't actually done the... Let me pull it up. I think we're about 20. Watch me be way off. Measure distance. 19.3 miles. So it's going to take a little bit for the sound to get here if it gets this far. But it should be an incredible incredible view. And it looks like Blue Origin has taken the countdown off their screen, which does make me think that they're going to reset that clock here momentarily. And then they'll begin that live coverage there. There we go. T-minus 20 minutes, or T-minus 30 minutes. So that would be 1:35 now and 20 seconds approximately. So a little bit later than we were initially expecting. But T0, T-minus 30 minutes and counting now until liftoff. So a few minutes longer. But that is all right. They are continuing with that count, and that's a really great sign that things are continuing to progress. Brian, I was in Cocoa Beach on Sunday, but it was cold as heck. I'm not there, sadly. Yeah, it's definitely cold outside. Not what we're used to here. Sorry, everyone. I'm also managing our social media, so if you're following us over on X and you see us doing tweets, if you ever see me pause on the time, that is what I'm also managing. If you're interested in joining our crew, the application link is in the chat there. We would love to have some of you joining us for today's, or joining our TLP crew. It's an exciting time in spaceflight. A lot's happening. And excited to welcome some of you on there. We are looking for launch commentators as well as moderators, as well as journalists for our whole second channel, journalists and hosts for the news videos as well. So definitely take a moment, fill out one of those applications if you're interested. They're volunteer positions, but we'd love to hear from you and welcome you onto the team. Should have Blue Origin here in about 6 minutes. Victoria, what is a live launch up close? So the closest I've been was just under 3 miles. I was like 2.5 or so. I've done that from a Falcon 9, and I've done that from a Delta IV Heavy. To answer your question, I have to say I've seen Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, Starship, SLS, Delta IV Heavy, and this will be New Glenn. So this will be my 7th vehicle that I'll get to have seen fly. I don't think I was here for Vulcan, was I? I might have been here for the last Vulcan. I don't remember. I'm not sure. I'm either at 7 or 8 vehicles. Each vehicle is different, and the weather really makes an impact. Last night's Falcon, or yesterday morning's Falcon 9 with the lunar landers, that was the loudest launch we've had at the studio in like 2.5 months. Normally the house is, shaking and rattling, especially we've got a lot of windows and doors, and the glass is all rattling with the launches because we're only about 14 miles from the Falcon pads. So they work. I've slept through one and I woke up because Falcon 9 is a very good alarm clock. But being that close to Falcon 9 and Delta IV Heavy, Delta IV Heavy was intense. It was actually quite emotional, being that close to a vehicle, and it was just the hard thudding in your chest from that vehicle. Starship, first flight was very interesting because we didn't see much and then inhaled some of the concrete from the flight, but didn't really get to see much because the concrete hit it and then it went into clouds from our point of view. But then getting to be out there for Flight 6 was amazing, getting to see that incredibly large vehicle fly off the pad. Again, really good sound, but not nearly as powerful as the Delta IV Heavy. Delta IV Heavy definitely has first place for me. I was about 3 miles from SLS as well, but Delta IV Heavy first, I'd say SLS, then Starship, and then you kind of have the rest. But it all depends on the weather and the conditions and the pad and the angle you're at. So if Falcon 9 is launching up and south of you and you're south of the pad, the flame side of the vehicle is pointed away from you, so it'll be quieter. If it's launching straight away from you, it's shooting at you, so it'll be possibly louder and louder longer. So it all depends on how you work with all of how sound engineering and everything works. So it's always really interesting. It really depends on the vehicle and the pad and the weather, and it's is it your first launch or your first launch of that vehicle, and how things do you have a payload on it? I know that flight of the vehicle that will fly the lunar lander that we're on that we'll announce soon. That's going to be kind of an emotional flight. Knowing that something I'm holding has gone through the process to be loaded on that vehicle and actually getting to watch that launch to space. I've been lucky enough to know some people and meet some people prior to their flights to space, so I've seen them fly, like Jared Isaacman, who is set to hopefully be the new NASA administrator. T-minus 22 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. We're about 2.5 minutes from Blue Origin hopefully starting their live broadcast and giving us an official update. We haven't had one on social media yet with the new T0, but we do believe we have that new T0 of 1:35. The countdown clock is running at the press site. We've had confirmation of that, so 1:35 Eastern Time is when we are expecting liftoff of New Glenn. Things continuing to proceed nominally. The weather is looking good, and I'm going to steal it from SpaceX, but I feel like excitement might be guaranteed here this evening. If you haven't yet, take a moment to share out the stream, invite people to join us, maybe wake up some kids if you have them, so that they can watch history in the making. HM Doppelganger, wait, did you just say you met Jared? Not yet. Digitally. And we've talked a number of times. Huge support from Jared. He's the reason TLP is what it is today from our early days. But no, not yet. We're hoping maybe when he's administrator. We'll have to wait and see. Very busy man. So. But yeah, weather is looking green for today's flight. T-minus 20 minutes, 25 seconds. Once Blue Origin goes live, I will be patching them in full screen. So you guys will be able to listen in to them for an official update. And then we will be back with commentary updates throughout the flight, as well as throughout the after the launch here. We'll be answering your questions, maybe doing a replay as well, making sure that we are in full quality and audio as we are at T-minus 20 minutes and counting. Blue Origin is beginning their live feed here. They took the clock off the screen, but we are now officially counting down in the last 20 minutes of the count for today's flight of New Glenn. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad. Here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together. We'll bring up our countdown clock there, L-minus 19 minutes, 27 seconds and counting. We're getting into it, folks. It is looking very, very good that New Glenn might fly here this evening. Some incredible shots here from everything that Blue Origin works on, from New Shepard to now New Glenn. There's the look at New Glenn in the future. You can see Tim Dodd getting a tour and interview. Blue Origin, can I do one? Yeah, just really super an exciting time seeing Blue Origin taking this next big step forward into space exploration and opening up a new orbital launch vehicle. Now under 19 minutes and counting till those 7 BE-4 engines launch. Let's listen in to Blue Origin Mission Control.
Welcome back, everyone. It's another great night for a launch attempt for our new rocket, New Glenn. Denise, thank you once again for joining me.
Thank you. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Here for it no matter what.
I hear you on that. Glad you're here for it. We introduced you the other night. You're a principal engineer on the New Glenn program. It's always good to have someone with a deep technical background here for the webcast. Now, picking up from where we left off a few nights ago, we had our first attempt at this NG-1 launch, and the team had trouble a couple technical issues along the way, which exceeded our available launch window, and we had to call a scrub.
Yeah, the team realized that the scrub was due to ice forming in a purge line on the auxiliary power unit that powers some of our hydraulic systems. Now, of course, auxiliary power units, or APUs, these will provide power to a variety of systems. It includes some of our hydraulics and other actuating surfaces.
Now, I'll say again, we've prepared rigorously for this first flight. Anything beyond our first objective, which is reaching orbit safely, is going to be a bonus. We know landing the booster on the first time is ambitious, but you know what? We are going for it.
And no matter what happens, we're going to learn so much. We'll refine, and we're going to apply that knowledge to our next launch.
And yes, that booster landing, we are really going to go for it. It's a key part of our first flight, and we really can't wait to see what happens with the booster. And yes, we recognize here at Blue Origin, it is incredibly hard to pull off, especially for the first time you try it, but you might even say we're just a little crazy to try it on the first flight, but the data we get for flying the complete mission profile is incredibly valuable.
You know, in fact, the attempt that we went through just the other night really netted us data about our vehicle, about our operations. So even though we didn't lift off, just going through the countdown in launch control was so valuable for our team. It is our goal to net immense amounts of collective knowledge about our vehicle as we build up our program, and that knowledge base is already growing.
I want to remind you that we have an early technology demonstration for Blue Ring on this flight. Now, this isn't the full Blue Ring vehicle. It is a Pathfinder featuring core subsystems that we want to validate. It's a non-separating payload that is going to stay attached to the second stage through its entire 6-hour mission duration. So it is another exciting day, and we're just so glad that you are back here joining us for this launch attempt. Once again, it's not just Denise and me. We got a couple other faces helping us bring you all of the action today. Why don't we check in with Maggie McNeese from our government team in our DC office. She's reporting from upstairs in Mission Control. Maggie, you there?
I am here so long as you're here and my friends here in Mission Control are here. I'm going to stay.
Okay, good. All right, welcome back to our next launch attempt. Maggie, do you want to remind our viewers where you're standing up there? You are just one floor above us. What's around you? What's the action?
I've got Mission Control right here on my right. Just down the hallway a little bit is our Launch Control Center. These rooms have our controllers, our engineers, everybody who's working to make this launch a success today.
Love it. Thank you so much, Maggie. We're going to patch you in as we go. Why don't we check in now with Eddie Seifert back at nearby Cars Park. Our Florida employees once again are gathering for a second attempt. They are hardcore. Eddie, are you there?
Yeah, Ariane, welcome to the best seat in the house. This is fun. We're having a blast out
here. Another day, another employee gathering to cheer on New Glenn. An odd question, because I think I know the answer. How are everybody's spirits down there?
We are happy to be here. We're so proud that we get to be together, a part of the community. We're, hanging with each other and sharing hot dogs and huddling together for warmth. But we're most looking forward to the rumble of the BE-4s, looking at that blue streak across the sky. And now this crew behind me, they've committed to cheer more loudly than the BE-4s. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Y'all stay warm out there. We're going to keep you on speed dial, Eddie, as we continue with this show. Additionally, we also have employees at our other sites across the nation checking in and rooting for New Glenn. Let's see how they're doing. We have sites across the country. There we go. We've got Huntsville, Alabama, our headquarters in Kent, Washington. What up, guys? We can see you out there. We have our flag bearer from the other night. He has not given up, that guy. Kent, Washington, again, our headquarters, where we work on all the projects. And then, of course, Huntsville, Alabama, where we build our BE-4s and our BE-3Us, as well as the Blue Ring system. They are ready to go. This is a big night for all of our employees across the country. Kudos to you guys. Let's do this, Blue Origin. All right, we are here at T-minus 13 minutes to go until launch. Why don't we check out the star of the show, New Glenn at the pad here as this rocket gets ready for its first launch ever. Welcome back, everybody. We are at T-minus 11 minutes and 12 seconds to go until New Glenn's first launch ever, NG-1. You know, so many of the people behind this mission are not only critical parts of the New Glenn operation, they're also super passionate people who are dedicated to the larger mission at Blue Origin. And you can tell because so many of them, including you and I, Denise, are ambassadors on behalf of Blue Origin's Club for the Future.
Yeah, you know, you're an ambassador, I'm an ambassador. There's actually thousands of us here at Team Blue. Club for the Future is Blue Origin's nonprofit to inspire and mobilize future generations to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. These kids are tomorrow's aerospace workers.
Yeah, Club for the Future is a perfect example of how we here at Blue Origin can do something about inspiring the next generation. We have a program where kids, parents, anyone can draw on a digital postcard. We'll send it to space, and they'll receive it back as space-flown piece of art. And today, we have digital postcards that are actually going up to space on New Glenn.
That's just so fun. That's the kind of thing I would have loved as a kid, and I know that my children also love making those postcards.
All right, I understand we are ready for a go, no-go poll. Let's stand by.
And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're looking at some beautiful views of New Glenn out on the pad. We are currently in a hold. We said it earlier. What are one of the things that can hold the launch? A boat. Blue Origin has confirmed a boat has sailed into the range. We are in a temporary hold at this point. We were at the point ready for that go, no-go poll, ready to go into terminal count. The vehicle is ready. The range was ready, and then someone sailed into the range. So the Coast Guard and Blue Origin security vessels are now clearing the range. And then we will get to continue on, hopefully, with today's countdown. I'm going to quickly pull up. Oh, they've cleared the clock, which is generally a sign that they are getting ready for a new T0.
I've had to go into a hold, and as you've seen there, we are now at T-minus 34 minutes. Unfortunately, there is a boat that has errantly come into the cleared range, and we're going to have to clear that boat out. So that is going to take us some time here As we have said before, our number one objective this evening is to get to orbit safely. And that includes not just the rocket, not just our teams, but everybody in the area, including people on boats. So with that, we're going to continue to watch New Glenn here for a moment as we get ready for New Glenn 1.
Well, there was that update, officially hearing from them, T-minus 33 minutes. That is obviously that point of which they recycle. I know we're all having a little bit of trauma flashing back to the first flight test, those 30-minute delays. Unfortunately, this one was not because, well, fortunately, this one was not because of Blue Origin, but it was because of someone violating the marine hazard zone. We are continuing to follow along here as we continue to count down to launch the first flight of New Glenn. If you guys have questions, you can keep sending those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad, and we'll work on answering those live while we continue through today's countdown. Catching up on your guys' comments and chats. Make some more coffee, folks. Yeah, that might be what we need to do. I was going to try to pull up the marine tracker and try to see if I can see who it might have been, if they're transmitting. I don't see anyone. Oh, there is a cargo container ship way offshore that is not exactly in the range, but it's close-ish. I'll see if I can pull this up on a feed here for you guys to be able to see. So bear with me one moment. I'll take a look at the So we'll take a very quick peek at this boat radar here. You can see Cape Canaveral up at the top there. This blue vessel here, this is a Coast Guard vessel. And then this is a tug out at sea. This is the cargo kind of ship that we're seeing. So yeah, they're launching right off this kind of tip of Cape Canaveral that you can see, that pointed triangle right off of that in a east-southeasterly trajectory. So there, I mean, maybe there was someone closer that we just can't see on radar, or maybe they're looking further out on the radar, but that would be the closest vessel I see, and then maybe something way out here, but that's quite a ways out at that point. So interesting to always see what they are looking at. When we're looking at these timelines, we're more excited to look at this big, beautiful, frosty, venti rocket. I am leaving the Blue Origin sounds on, so we'll hear if there's any updates, but we also get to hear those sights and sounds of the New Glenn launch vehicle. Excuse me. This dude be good and quick. I appreciate it. Bodie McBoatface. Zach's got links for everything. We got flight radars. We got flight radar, we got boat radar, we've got satellite radar. Catching up on your guys' comments here. Stealth mode, good to see you. Is Elon's yacht in the area? No, he wouldn't do that. That's a very dangerous looking shot with the two flare stacks beside the boat, or beside the ship. There is quite a bit of distance from these flare stacks to the New Glenn vehicle here. T-minus 28 minutes, 40 seconds and counting. What's with the feather logo? That is the logo for Blue Origin. So that is the Blue Origin leaf. Got a few patches here. So we do have the mission batch for today, but then we do have, that is, put it that way.
Thank you again, everybody.
Let's listen in.
For New Glenn's first launch to space, we are T-minus 28 minutes and 10 seconds to go until launch. If you've been joining along, we got very close to a go-no-go poll there, but we understand that there is a boat that is downrange where we don't want it to be. So we are waiting to clear that vessel from out of the way. Otherwise speaking, I'm hearing from Mission Control, the weather is looking good, the vehicle is looking good. We are just waiting for that vessel to clear the area. And then, you know what? It's go time. So stick with us, everybody, as we get ready for New Glenn's first launch to space.
Okay, I have to say it. I do love that Blue Origin's just throwing a little bit of, just, stand by. We're waiting to launch because there's a boat in the range. The fact that they have a graphic to put on screen right now is incredible. Well, we're at T-minus 27 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. I'm going to take a quick couple minutes, check in with our mod crew and our rocket chasers out in the field, make sure everyone's doing well. We'll continue our commentary coverage in just a couple minutes. T-minus 27 minutes and counting till the historic first flight of New Glenn. Take a moment, share out the stream, get a refill of your drink, and stay with us right here on the launch pad.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We are at T-minus 20 minutes and 30 seconds to go until launch. As noted, we got down very close to our go-no-go pole, but then we noted an errant boat downrange, which we are still working to clear, so we've got a couple more minutes here. But while we've got a couple more minutes, Denise, I'd like to get a little deeper into New Glenn. We've got a lot of new viewers this evening. Do you want to give our audience a sense of what sets this vehicle apart from current and historic launch vehicles?
Absolutely. Well, to start, it's just massive at over 320 feet tall, or almost 98 meters. Just to think about that, that's like a 32-story building. It's really hard to describe what that means, but another way to think about it is, you know, we all know and love New Shepards. You could stack 5 New Shepards end to end, and that's about the size of New Glenn.
So our viewers can see there on the screen there, that's we actually could stick one of those in the fairing of New Glenn, actually. So, you know, it's remarkable to see the jump from New Shepard to New Glenn. We talk about our motto, gradatum ferociter, step by step ferociously. That is a pretty ferocious step we've decided to take.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So New Shepard could fit inside of our payload fairing with even room to spare on the sides. Our fairings are just that big.
And again, as fun as that would be, we don't really need to ship New Shepard off to another planet anytime soon. But that said, it does speak to future capabilities, such as, say, moon landers, right? We're working on our Blue Moon lunar lander that we are working with our friends at NASA on, or other large vehicles that are similar in size to New Shepard. What's so brilliant about that 7-meter fairing is not, you know, when you pair the 7-meter fairing and all the volume that's in there, plus the power of New Glenn, we can take a lot of things to a lot of different destinations, orbits, planets, the moon with this rocket. And the versatility of this rocket is what makes it so important to not only Blue Origin with our own vehicles, but all of our other customers, right? You know, this vehicle is so large, and it's not often that people get to stand up close to a rocket. You know, and we showed this the other night during the first broadcast, but you and I got a chance a couple of days ago to walk next to this rocket, and man, oh man, there's some footage there. God, it's huge.
It's one of the things that I think I will remember the most from this whole experience. You know, we spent years just engineering the requirements and building it and testing it, and then the first time that you stand in front of this vehicle fully stacked is just breathtaking. It was just so cool to get to be so close to that rocket, and it's just so much bigger than words and figures can describe.
So you saw there a second ago we were just walking out of the flame trench. And I mean, of all the many things that I'm looking forward to this evening, watching the water deluge system, we talked about it during the last webcast, the water is going to come streaming out of the water tower, which is one of the tallest water towers, the largest water towers ever built. It's going to suppress the vibration and the acoustics, and it's going to come flying out of that flame trench, and you and I were standing in it. And so when just the scale of everything, the rocket and all the infrastructure around it, when you get up close and personal, you realize the scale of what we're dealing with.
You truly do feel like you're just an ant when you stand next to it, right? You know, but going back to it, one of the things that I think is a key difference between New Glenn and other rockets that might have lifted off this pad in the past is really that reusability. So while the scale of New Glenn is truly remarkable, I mean, this rocket is built for big things with an incredible lift capability. It does it in a way that's sustainable and reusable, and that's really innovative and really special.
Yes, reusability. Really glad you brought that up, because it's such a critical component to reducing the cost of future access to space. And you can't say enough about how important it is. When we started this company a long time ago, it was all about reducing the cost of access to space. And you can really, at the end of the day, there's no other way to do it other than coming up with vehicles that are reusable. And that is why, you know, we started with New Shepard, which is a reusable vehicle. We took a lot of the same concepts and transferred that over into New Glenn. But go back to the size for a second.
Yeah, I mean, so we all know and love the Saturn V, and rocket fans know this. Just like Saturn V and other big rockets, rockets fly in stages, and the job of the first stage, or what we sometimes call the booster, is to lift the vehicle from Earth up into space. The stages will then separate, and it's the second stage that powers our payloads into orbit.
And, you know, you guys, for some of our viewers who maybe aren't as huge rocket nerds as we are, the Saturn V is what took Apollo missions and astronauts to the moon. So you get a sense of the scale with that vehicle. And, well, you know, we might be just a little bit smaller than that, not by a lot. It's only about 10%. Like, we are going to also be taking people and vehicles to the moon and beyond with this vehicle. So as we say, this is going to be our workhorse vehicle for decades to come, which is why we are so excited about this launch. It really is a historic launch in the sense that we intend, this is day one. We are opening a new chapter for not only Blue, but for spaceflight capability and for customers around the world to be able to put things into space for less. And who knows what that's going to open the doors to. So that's our baby. That's our New Glenn in a nutshell. For those of you that are less familiar with this rocket, obviously we're super proud of this vehicle, and we cannot wait to send it up to space in just T-minus 13 minutes and 50 seconds to go until launch. Let's turn it back to the rocket and listen in as it gets ready to go to space.
And we are standing by for the go, no go poll.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We are at T-minus 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go until launch. We are awaiting here the go, no go poll for New Glenn's first launch to space. Now, at this point, we're going to throw it over to launch control. They're going to go around the room and see if we are ready to go to space. Keep in mind that upstairs we have our launch control and our mission control room. In the mission control room, we have the team that is managing our Blue Ring Pathfinder payload this evening. As we mentioned on the last webcast, I'm particularly proud of our Blue Ring team. It's the team that I help lead here at Blue Origin. They have been working very hard on this payload, and they are ready that as soon as the second stage separates from the first stage, the fairings will deploy, and it is heading out to MEO, to Middle Earth orbit, where it is going to remain up there orbiting the Earth for about 6 to 8 hours or so, collecting various data, checking all of the various systems, primarily telecom systems there. You see poll coming in here. Stand by.
Go pending L-10 actions in work.
Roger, report when those are complete. Recovery.
Go.
PLI.
Go.
LSO.
Go.
OSM.
Go.
RC.
Go.
ESR.
Go.
AC.
Go.
And BMD.
Go.
LD is go as well. All stations LD on count 1 with the terminal count. Briefing all personnel remain in current positions until launch. Maintain operational silence in the control room. All controllers move to count 1 for launch. If a constraint is observed between now and launch, commit. Announce hold, hold, hold on count 1. Briefly state reason. OSM LD set hold fire switch to launch position.
Launch.
And LD is in launch. Guido, verify, abort, request, flag, false.
Abort request is false.
Roger.
And you were hearing it there, that go, no go poll, and we heard a lot of goes across the board. T-minus 7 minutes and counting. We've got the new... Let's listen in.
We prepared rigorously for it, but no amount of ground testing or mission simulation is a replacement for flying this rocket. Our key...
I'm going to quickly cut in and just say to everyone at Blue Origin, congratulations, T-minus 6 minutes, 45 seconds. As always, let's see that go, no go in the chat. We are hearing there's greens across the board for launch and recovery conditions. And all from on behalf of the entire TLP crew, we're praying for it. T-minus 6 minutes, 30 seconds. Go Blue Origin, go New Glenn. Let's turn it over to Blue Origin Mission Control for the final minutes of the count. Let's launch this bird.
We haven't really touched on today. Our New Glenn rocket is called New Glenn. It is named after an American hero, John Glenn, the first American to orbit Earth, circling it 3 times in 1962.
He also served as a U.S. Senator for more than 2 decades in the state of Ohio. And then amazingly, Senator Glenn flew to space again in 1998 at the age of 77 on board the Space Shuttle Discovery STS-95 mission.
Now, this gentleman led an incredible life. He died in 2016 at the age of 95. But shortly before he died, our founder, Jeff Bezos, was able to connect with the senator and tell him that we hope that he'd be willing to lend his name to Blue's first orbital rocket. And we have here a copy of the letter that he sent back. You can see it is really meaningful to us. Just a moment, let me read you a couple of words. When I first orbited the Earth in 1962, you were still 2 years from being born. And when I returned to space in 1998, Blue Origin was still 2 years in the future. But you were already driven by a vision of space travel accessible not only to highly trained pilots, engineers, and scientists, but to all of us. I'm deeply touched that you've named the second generation of those rockets New Glenn. As the original Glenn, I can tell you, I see the day coming when people will board spacecraft the same way millions of us now board jetliners. When that happens, it will be largely because of your epic achievements this year.
I get goosebumps every time. You know, he's the first American to orbit Earth, and I've seen that letter hanging in our headquarters building in Kent.
Yeah, it's one of our treasured artifacts. Everybody, we're at T-minus 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go until launch. We are very close. We are coming up here on terminal count. Do not go anywhere.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting. Terminal count active. Safing timer started. ES safing pins disengaged. T-minus 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Upending system armed. Magic charge initiated.
Our team is now securing all the commodities to our first stage and our second stage. They're also going to be draining and purging all the umbilicals that are supplied to New Glenn.
T-minus 3 minutes. GS2 hydraulic secured. Magic charging complete. T-minus 2:30. GS1 pre-press start.
We are now pressurizing the tanks to their flight pressures. Of course, this is crucial
GS2
for the
chilled
performance
pre-press
of our engines. Getting ready for launch.
T-minus 2 minutes.
We're now going to be switching off the ground power supply and transitioning New Glenn to its internal vehicle batteries. When this happens, the vehicle is now powering itself. Let's do this, New Glenn.
T-minus 1:30. Power internal.
There it is, New Glenn is alive.
T-minus 60 seconds. Range green. AFSS flight enabled. APU's running. T-minus 30 seconds. GS1 at flight level. GS2 at flight level. Big water start.
That's a big water command. There's the water deluge. Here we go, New Glenn.
It's time to do this. Let's light this candle.
Autopilot enabled. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 1. Liftoff. 7 engines at full thrust. Chamber pressures are good. Vehicles cleared the tower. Now passing 18 seconds into flight. Engine chamber pressures look good. 27 seconds in, vehicles now begun the pitch roll maneuver to point down range. Body rate responses are nominal. Chamber pressures continue to look good. Now 40 seconds into flight.
Oh my God!
End of roll, strakes now level. Chamber pressures continue to look good. 50 seconds in. Data quality looks good coming down from the vehicle. Chamber pressures continue to look nominal. 1 minute into flight.
And liftoff.
All 7 engines continue to look good on the first stage. Data quality is good coming down from the vehicle. Body rate responses are nominal.
1
minute, 15 seconds into flight.
As we build a road to space for the benefit of Earth.
Profile looks good. Performed well. Now passing 1 minute 30 seconds into flight, passing Mach 1. New Glenn is now supersonic. Engines continue to perform well. Now passing through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. Body rate responses are nominal throughout the boost phase. Data quality continues to look good. Chamber pressure is looking good. All 7
engines. Through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. The toughest part of the flight on that vehicle, we have
now passing 2 minutes into flight.
And New Glenn continues
Chamber pressures
its
continue to look
ascent
good
to
on all
space.
7 B4 engines. Acceleration profile is good. Body rates look good. 1 minute to MECO. B3U LH2 chill-in started. B4s continue to perform well throughout the boost phase. Now passing 2 minutes, 30 seconds into flight. Trajectory is nominal. Two minutes, 40 seconds. Approximately 30 seconds remaining in boost phase.
And here we are, coming up
Chamber
on
pressures on all
MECO.
7
Main engine cut off. Let's stand by for that.
Continue to look good. Stage 2 RCS priming. Now passing 3 minutes. And we have MECO. We have stage set. And we have ignition on both B3Us. Chamber pressure is good. Now passing 3 minutes, 40 seconds into flight. Body rates look good. Data quality coming down from both stages. Looks good. GS2 performing a pitch-up maneuver. Body rate response is nominal. B3U chamber pressure continues to look good. We have good payload fairing jettison.
Separation confirmed of the two stages.
Tank pressures are within their limits.
Stage 2 is now continuing its launch and flight up to
Now
MEO.
passing 4 minutes, 20 seconds into flight.
Our booster is going to try to make a landing.
Less than 3 minutes
You
now
see
remaining.
the
to
landing
GS1.
target out there in the ocean. We are going to land on the Jacqueline, the landing ship that is awaiting this beautiful booster to make a landing.
GS2 bottles look good. Trajectory looks good on both stages. 4 minutes, 50 seconds into flight. Now passing 5 minutes, 10 seconds into flight.
Thrust on both BE3Us continues to look good. 5 minutes, 20 seconds in. Less than 2 minutes now remaining to GS1 engine ignition.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us for New Glenn's first launch to space. So far, 5 minutes and 30 seconds into launch. Everything continues to be nominal. A clean separation of stage 1 from stage 2. Stage 1, our booster. We are looking to land it on our landing ship, Jacqueline. There you see its targeted landing spot where the feather is there. And stage 2, carrying the Pathfinder for Blue Ring, will continue its mission up towards MEO orbit, where we will be collecting data for 6 hours. But let's continue to watch here as the two vehicles continue on their way.
Good, both BE3Us. Confirm GS1 engine chill active. Less than 1 minute now remaining to exo-atmospheric engine ignition. 6 minutes, 30 seconds into flight.
So coming up here, we're going to see the middle of the 3 7BE4 engines on the booster light up.
Good. Chamber pressures on both BE3Us.
This is going to slow the vehicle down, and then as the vehicle gets closer to the landing ship, the Jacqueline, the 2 outer of the 3 middle engines will shut off, and just 1 in the center will remain to help slow as well as guide the vehicle back to the landing ship. As you've also seen on the booster vehicle, we have the steering fins at the top of the booster, as well as the strakes, which act essentially as wings. This vehicle is flying back to the Jacqueline, providing lift to come in for a nice, soft, and vertical landing onto the landing ship, the Jacqueline.
Seeing good chamber pressures on both BE3Us.
All 3 engines relight confirmed.
Body rates look good on GS2. Continuing through its planned burn. Now 7 minutes, 45 seconds in. Seeing good MR response on the B3U engines, seeing good throttle profile. Chamber pressures continue to look good throughout the burn. 8 minutes, 20 seconds into flight. GS2 tank pressures staying within their acceptable limits. Body rate responses look good. Chamber pressures look good throughout the burn. 8 minutes, 40 seconds in. Now passing 9 minutes into flight. Continue to see data from both stages. GS2 data quality continues to look good throughout the burn. Chamber pressures, both engines staying very close to each other. GS2 trajectory is nominal. Less than 3 minutes now remaining in the GS2 burn.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Wow, what a moment so far. We obviously have some frozen data here on our stage 1, on our booster. We're still waiting to understand what the situation is with the booster. Meanwhile, our second stage, GS2, continues
10 minutes, 20 seconds into
its
flight.
ascent as well as its climb towards MEO, which is where it is headed this evening. We are still waiting.
You see good throttle response
Again,
on both
our
B3
first
engines.
our primary objective, getting to
rates,
orbit
continue to
safely.
look stable
Let's stand
throughout
by
the
here.
Tank pressure is staying within acceptable limits. Bottle pressures look good. Data quality continues to look good throughout the GS2 burn. "11 minutes, 10 seconds into flight. GS2 is now 1,700 kilometers downrange, traveling at 6.7 kilometers per second. Data looks good coming down from Cedrus. Both BE3Us continue to look good, tracking nicely in chamber pressure. Body rate responses are stable. 12 minutes, 10 seconds into flight. We have IAP vanish. GS2 is now orbital. Minutes, 53 seconds into flight. And we have engine cutoff. Body rates look good following engine cutoff.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Seco, we cut off the engines on the second stage. What does that mean? That means that we hit our key, critical, #1 objective. We got to orbit safely. Congratulations, Blue Origin. Y'all have gone orbital. What a day. We see our teams down in Huntsville, our teams in Kent. I know the team out at Cart Park down here in Florida. They are all losing their minds. Congratulations, everybody. What a day. We are in space. We've got our Blue Wing Pathfinder ready to warm up, ready to start drawing in all of that great information. What a day. We're going to go to Cars Park here. We have Eddie Seifert.
14 minutes, 10 seconds into flight.
Hey. Ariane, we are so happy to be here at Rocket Park, our orbital launch site. This team is so proud that we got to orbit. What an incredible rumble from the B4 engines. This was such an experience to live together, to be a part of this community.
And if you're just joining us, a historic day. We don't know what happened with the first stage, but Blue Origin, on their first ever attempt, has reached orbit. What an truly incredible achievement. And I want to bring something up here really quick. I know they're going to be talking here and we'll listen back in, but I want to give a shout out here because this is well in need of giving a shout out here. Our rocket chasers are scattered across the Space Coast, and some of them will be editing now, some are editing in the field. but I have to shout out Gavin for sending this in. This is the first picture in from our from our TLP rocket chasers. This is from Gavin, the first launch of New Glenn. This will be up on the shop shortly. If you guys want to grab posters or metal prints of it, stand by. We're getting it up right away. This is a quick edit. We'll process the high quality edit for any orders that come in. But Gavin, truly an incredible shot here. Make sure you stay tuned to our social media and our Discord to see more photos that are coming in. But a huge thank you before we listen back in here to all of our TLP crew, to our moderators, David, Lewis, and Amy. Thank you so much for being on these crazy hours. To our rocket chasers, Gavin, Trevor, Josh, Eric, Cameron. I hope I didn't forget anyone. It's 2 a.m. But yeah, just our entire TLP crew. This isn't possible without all of you. But congratulations, Gavin. An incredible shot. Let's listen back into Blue Origin Mission Control.
Electric. I've got these people here. They're still working. They've been standing up. They've been sitting down. The folks behind me are celebrating. It is a good night here up in Mission Control. Obviously, you know, as you mentioned, lost the booster, but there is still a lot of work going on. We've got these guys in Mission Control, guys and gals in Mission Control, ready to keep watching our second stage, see if that Blue Ring Pathfinder can continue on its mission. And, you know, the work's going to continue for quite a while tonight, Ariane.
That's right. That's right. My team, our in-space systems team, their job basically has just started, right? They're going to get that Blue Ring Pathfinder going. Maggie, can I ask you, we felt it down here in the studio. What was that rumble like as New Glenn was taking off?
It was hard to describe. It was the rumble, the railings shook, but also it was so bright, Ariane. That whitish blue light out there was just impossible to take our eyes off of. Everybody here was glued to their view right over there, and it's been just incredible.
Amazing. You can see on our screen there, we've got the executives. We see there in the middle, we've got our CEO. We've got Jeff Bezos. We have Dave Limp, our CEO. Mark Featherstone, who has been on this program since day one. I see the deputy of our New Glenn program losing it. This is a replay of the executives, of our team members, as New Glenn was taking off. Man, oh man, what a moment. And as Maggie was mentioning, what's so cool about when New Glenn takes off, not only is it bright like a lot of those rockets, but that LNG burns this beautiful, beautiful blue. And man, the skies over Florida were lit tonight. And New Glenn, Stage 2, continues its mission up to MEO. What a fantastic day. This team, Blue Origin, across this country, you guys should be so proud of yourselves. Getting to orbit is hard. There are not many countries, companies, whatever you want to say it, that have ever been to orbit. And y'all, we did it on our first go. Congratulations. That is huge. Denise, you've been at this company for several years. I've been here a decade. You've been here for 4 years.
Almost 5. Yeah, I actually, I started crying. I'm filled with excitement, and I'm just filled with gratitude. You know, like, all of us play a small part in this success. It really does take thousands of engineers to really come together and work together to make this happen. And I'm just very grateful and humbled to be a part of it. And I'm also just so incredibly proud of our team. And I know we talked about the rumble, we anticipated it, and I knew it was coming when we cleared the pad, and it's still, I'm speechless. It felt like an earthquake here at the studio. It was, yeah, I'm very emotional, very happy, and very proud.
Congratulations. High five, girl.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a moment to reflect on the key moments of today's mission. We met many of our objectives today. We exceeded them. So some of those milestones, we had a clean liftoff. Man, oh man, I will never forget the view of those 7 BE-4 engines in the blue coming out of those nozzles. We had stage separation, a clean stage separation, a clean fairing separation. And then you know what? We reached orbit. Now, we are still going to take some time to deliver our deliver our payload to orbit. As a reminder, the blue ring Pathfinder is going to stay attached to that second stage as it orbits the Earth, collecting all its data, testing all of that very important telecom and avionics technology that is going to roll right into our blue ring program, to the blue ring vehicle itself. Now, we didn't have booster landing, but man, we got close. And as we have said in the previous webcast, it is about collecting data. Data is the currency of success, and with that being the case, we collected so much data. And man, oh man, we were going to take that information, we're going to roll it back into the next New Glenn, which is literally over my shoulder, waiting to have all of that incorporated. I mean, all of this, the engineering that has gone into it, the testing.
And all the lessons learned, too. You know, these are really complicated, intricate engineering systems that we have designed, and it's really hard to do. And every time we get that data and we can infuse into the next iteration of it, of course, we have a GS1-2 right behind us. So there's another booster coming, and we're just so proud.
We cannot wait to bring you that next launch. I'm raring to go. Denise, it has been a joy to have you here. Thank you for all of your insights, for your joy, your passion. You exude Team Blue and New Glenn, Team New Glenn. Let me just ask you, what are you going to remember the most from this evening?
I think seeing that image of the 7 BE4s after it cleared the pad. I mean, again, we know from analysis and data what it's supposed to look like, what it might sound like, and we've envisioned it for years. And then to see it on the screen, it was honestly the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it has, again, as you said, we've all had these visions in our mind. We've had animations, like what we think it's going to look like.
Yeah.
But there is nothing like seeing that real booster, the real, did you see that flame come out from the base of that vehicle as it took off? It is just insane. Thank you so much for being a part of today's webcast. It really has been an honor to be with you, to take part in our first New Glenn webcast. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us. To our customers, to the Defense Innovation Unit that is supporting our Blue Ring Pathfinder. Thank you very much to you. You have been supporters of the Pathfinder, but especially of Blue Ring. You are believers. Now you know what? I know Team Blue has a lot to celebrate. I don't know if there's going to be too much work going on tomorrow as we celebrate all of this. Everybody, Mission 1 is in the books. I cannot wait, and I look forward to seeing you all back here again soon as we get New Glenn 2 ready to launch. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Yeah. I think we've got one last way that we can get our viewers engaged.
Yes. So I do want to speak a little bit more about Team Blue. You know, we talked about the hard work and all the cool engineering that we do here and just the immense pride that we have for what we do. So if you're watching this and you're feeling inspired or energized by what we accomplished today, about what Blue Origin is, our values, we would love for you to come join us. So we've got hundreds of positions available, manufacturing jobs specifically in the Space Coast, Florida, Huntsville, Alabama, West Texas. Of course, we have our headquarters in Seattle, Washington. Just visit our website at blueorigin.com/careers. We would absolutely love for you to come help us build this incredible road to space.
And we should also note, for others watching, perhaps you want to help us celebrate this momentous occasion for us. We've got some really cool launch gear in our shop. You can pick up the mission patch from today. There it is. That's pretty cool. We've got all sorts of really cool mission gear. Check us out online. That's a mean-looking patch right there.
It really is. And you know, this patch is a special one. You notice It was also the payload fairing that we saw throughout the broadcast. It had the same decal. It features New Glenn on the pad at LC-36, and it's surrounded by Team Blue, just watching it lift off, just like we did this evening. So these are so cool. You know, I love collecting those space patches. It's almost like a badge of honor after you work a few missions. So if you're interested, it's available in our shop.
Yeah, I have, you know, as mentioned, I've been at this company for over 10 years. I was here for New Glenn 1. I was here for the first landing of I was here for New Shepard 1. Should be very clear. New Shepard 1.
You're also here for New Glenn 1.
I also happen to be here for New Glenn 1. Here for New Shepard 1. I was here for New Shepard 2, the first time we landed New Shepard. I'm kind of thinking that we're like on that trajectory too. I've been lucky enough to collect all of those patches. This tonight feels like one of those moments. Like, as we've talked about, we are opening a new chapter for this vehicle, for this company, for our customers, and as we build the road to space for the benefit of Earth, today was such a momentous step. Thank you again to all of our viewers who tuned in to watch this historic launch. New Glenn, Blue Origin, we are so proud. You can continue to follow the mission and all of our progress on X and all of our social media channels. We're going to track the payload up to its final destination. We'll have more information on what happened to our booster, so stay tuned to that. Another big thank you to the Defense Innovation Unit and the many, many people at Blue Origin who spent years designing this rocket, building it, testing it, getting ready for today, and lastly, believing in this vehicle and in this program. I want to also say thank you to the FAA and to the range for supporting us. Today on our first flight, we gave them a little bit of extra work this evening. And to the state of Florida, from the governor on down, thank you so much. We love being down here in Florida. Everybody, this is going to conclude our first mission of New Glenn, NG-1. The next era of space flight at Blue Origin is upon us. My name is Ariane Cornell. For Denise, Eddie, Maggie, and all of us here at Blue Origin, thank you for joining us. A very happy New Year to all, and we look forward to seeing you soon on our next launch. We're just getting started, and until next time, Gradatum Ferociter.
And we'll watch the replay here of the video from liftoff. First time I'm getting to see this because I was outside with my grandparents here. Wow, what some incredible camera shots. I can only imagine what other footage will come out over the coming days. There is basically Gavin's picture right there from launch. Truly, truly an incredible night. History in the books. They didn't get the booster back, but they made it to orbit. For the first time, New Glenn has gone orbital. Blue Origin has gone orbital. Congratulations to so many people that have worked on this. You can see some of them there. Huge shout out to our friend Bradley on the New Glenn team as well. Super proud of you, buddy. Congratulations. An incredible, incredible day. New Glenn Mission 1 is complete. If you haven't yet, we'll keep these photos and videos up as long as they are doing this replay here. But we do have that first picture from Gavin up on the shop. Our other rocket chasers are getting their content right now edited. There is a view of that photo from Gavin, just a very quick one. It was really cloudy out here on the Space Coast at liftoff, so I know some of the shots that were planned are, they're streaks or got cloud spots in them, and it's some really neat shots. So make sure you stay tuned to our social media to see those photos coming out, as well as videos as well. We're getting another one in from Gavin here right now, so bear with me just a second as we pull this in. Another really cool shot coming here. Bear with me. We are doing this. We are doing it live. One moment. Another great shots. Make sure you're following all of our rocket chasers over on social so you see their incredible work on all of these missions, because they do really do some incredible effort to get these photos to you guys. And we'll pull this one up if it'll go on screen. There's another one coming in from Gavin We will try to get that up on the shop here momentarily, probably as well, and some others. But you can see there that incredible streak of New Glenn leaving the pad and how much it arced over right away, leaving Slick 36 in its dust and heading off to orbit. Sad we'll never get to see this booster most likely again. Unless it hit Jacqueline, we'll have to stay tuned for updates from Blue Origin. Even from people that we know at Blue, they're all like, we'll let Blue tell the full story. So something happened, but we'll wait for Blue Origin to tell us that story and wait for those updates on the second stage as well. We are now 14 hours, 25 minutes, 50 seconds and counting till launch of Starship. This is going to be an incredible day in history. Thursday, January 16th, 2025. If Starship launches, this will be the first time in human history that two mega launchers like these vehicles will launch on the same day. So we hope that you will join us back here for the launch of Starship. We'll be doing full live coverage. We have our countdown with our live camera looking right there at Starbase. The clouds have cleared out so we can see the pad, luckily, and we'll be doing full countdown to launch coverage starting basically now with the live feeds. Commentary will begin after I get a couple of hours of sleep, and then we'll be taking you all the way through the flight and hopefully the catch and booster landing, well, booster catch, and then ship soft splashdown in the Indian Ocean. But on behalf of the entire TLP crew, that is going to do it for us here this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't yet, make sure you engage that subscribe button so you never miss another live launch coverage. And make sure you join us over on the TLP Discord. That's where our community hangs out in between streams, and we would love to see you there. But from our TLP Space Coast studio, on behalf of the entire TLP crew, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations, Blue Origin. They've gone orbital with New Glenn, and we can't wait to see the next New Glenn on the pad in probably a few months' time. And of course, we'll bring you full countdown to launch coverage when that is time. But for now, from our TLP Space Coast studio, my name is Zach, and we will see you in a few hours for the launch of Starship, because space is better together. Good night.